changes like how it's supposed to be meant,
Thank you.
then yes. I could have sworn that Ken said something about, there's something
Okay,
about
we're ready.
CDA authority. I was trying to find my notes from.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Harrison Township Planning Commission meeting. Today is Thursday, August 17th, 2017. Call the meeting to order at 7:04. Roll call, please.
Yes, Commissioner Opaka,
Here.
Commissioner Tonello,
Here.
Commissioner Blum,
Here.
Commissioner Boccia,
Here.
Commissioner Olgiati, here. Chair Murray.
Present, thank you. Before we move on to approval of the agenda, I would just like to share with you, it's with sadness that we share with you our friend and fellow commissioner, Jim Garvin, passed away unexpectedly. Tonight is our first meeting without him, and we're gonna go ahead and carry on. He was an excellent member of the Planning Commission, a longtime resident and business owner in the township, which gave him a unique perspective to working on agenda items. He's missed, and he will be missed. So I'd just like to take a moment of silence in honor of our member, Jim Garvin. We will miss him. May I have approval of the agenda as presented, please?
Make a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting
May I have a second?
as proposed.
Mr. Tominello, supported by Mr. Bloom. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. May I have approval of the minutes from January 19th, 2017? That was our last meeting, the last time we were together, amazingly enough. I know I reviewed them a long time ago. I do not have a current copy. If anyone has any comments to make. Did everyone get a copy, or no?
I think I did in February, I do not have it with me.
Yeah. Let me just take a quick gander. I don't believe that there's anything outstanding. I looked at it a long time ago. I remember all this. That was a packed meeting. Okay. Any comments from anybody?
Can I glance at it?
Yes, you may.
Madam Chair, I did previously review the draft minutes of the January 19th, 2017 meeting. And at this point, I would make a motion to approve them.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Mr. Bloom. May I have a second?
I'll
second.
support.
Ms. Loparka? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Our hearing and reviews tonight, we have a public hearing tonight. Mr. Olgiati, would you please read our first case?
Sure.
Thank you.
Case number 13-17-RZ Joy Development LLC, located on the north side of Joy Boulevard, west of Glen Festi, Harrison Township, Michigan, zoned MHC, rezoning from MHC to IND in order to sell the properties.
Thank you, Mr. Olgiati. This is a rezoning from a manufactured housing community to an industrial. May I have a motion to open the public hearing, please?
Madam Chair, I will move to open the public hearing in case number 1317, RZ Joy Development LLC.
Thank you, Mr. Bloom. May I have a second, please?
Support?
Support by Mr. Batchel. Roll call, please, Mr. Olgiati.
Yes, Member Blum?
Yes.
Member Blatcher?
Yes.
Member Olgiati, yes. Member Opaka?
Yes.
Member Tomanello?
Yes.
Member Murray?
Yes. Okay, our public hearing is now open. We've been presented with the application, which has a clear definition of the property, the adjacent property that resides in Clinton Township. We also have been provided with aerial views of the property. And then additionally, a nicely detailed document from our planner. The recommendation from the from our planner is to approve this rezoning, and the reason being that its location even though there is a section there that is the manufactured housing corridor, it is adjacent to industrial, which is up and down that portion of I-94. Additionally, it is adjacent to an industrial zoned parcel in Clinton Township, which the applicant also owns. The portion that is on Joy Boulevard that is industrial already is directly east of this small parcel. It's the recommendation that we go ahead and make that section industrial to be in compliance with the surrounding area, the industrial area that's running north and south along I-94. Even though it is in contention with our master plan, it's thought that our master plan was designed that way intentionally because the manufactured housing community could potentially grow, and there was gonna be room for that. But at this point, that small section is not, I don't believe that any of us feel that that
Madam
is.
Chairman, can I speak to errors in that?
If you,
Because you made some mistakes.
Well,
and your
if you
plan
could, just
also.
please wait until we're
That's fine.
ready. That portion of the property, zone manufacturing, what was I saying, is adjacent to industrial on the east, the west, and more so up and down I-94 in that stretch. So with that, do the members have any additional
Yeah,
information to
Madam Chair,
share?
if I may, just a point of clarification.
Thank
The
you.
recommendation, and I think the authority of this planning commission, is to recommend
Correct,
approval and
yes.
not approve.
Yes,
So
recommend
the-
approval to the township board.
The approval will be with the Board of Trustees.
Correct.
But this, the purpose for tonight is a recommendation coming out of the
Correct,
plan.
it is, yes, thank you for that clarification.
And I'd just sort of like to set the stage for the public hearing, for those of you who have not attended a public hearing in the past. What this review is we're going to hear about the proposed zoning change. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take public comment from everyone. Everyone will have up to 3 minutes to comment on the project. We are going to take all of your input tonight. After tonight, we will not be making a decision tonight. We'll actually be taking your comments. We'll take 30 days till our next meeting to vet all the information that we gather tonight, both from the petitioner and the residents. And then what we'll do is at our next meeting, we will make a decision to recommend or to deny to the Board of Trustees as was previously stated. So just let everybody know the format and how we're going to be running the public hearing this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Tupman. Anything additional from the board members? Would the applicant, is the applicant present? Did you want to impart any additional information? If you could, please come up to the podium. Thank you.
Well, sorry to hear about your loss, folks. Anyways, I am the owner, one of the owners of Joy Development. My family's owned this property for 25, 30 years. As you know, it's just been sitting. Wanted to also point out that I know when we pulled the records from the accessmygov.com, it states that the property is commercial vacant, but that must be a discrepancy with what your master plan is.
I'm sorry, if I could you please state your name?
Oh,
Oh,
I'm
thank
sorry.
you.
Thank you. My name is Donna Russell Coor, and I'm one of the owners of Joy Development. This property's been in my family several years. Anyways, we just noticed that it was zoned as commercial vacant on the accessmy.gov. So, and then this is also our realtor that's helping us sell the property.
Hi, my name is Zoran Savesky. I am the realtor that's helping sell this property, as Donna stated. We were trying to sell this property for the past year and a half, 2 years, and really got nowhere in trying to sell this the way it's zoned. We are asking to get it rezoned. We do have purchase agreements pending on zoning, rezoning of this property. I can tell you what it's for. It's for a storage facility, which already exists on the other side of Linefesti. It's the same owners.
Anything additional?
I think that's it from me.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and take a seat, and if you could, be mindful of the questions and comments that the residents make, so that you'll be able to answer on the back end of the public hearing. Excuse me. Okay, public hearing's open. Please come up and state your name. The general rule is that if a comment is made, we're already taking note of that, so we don't need 2, 3, and 4 people to say the same comment. We understand that these public hearings can be passionate, so just be mindful that we're in a public place, and we'll be sure to take great notes. Thank you.
I'm nervous.
It's okay. Take a deep breath.
I am
Your
the
name?
president, Christina Ryan, of the Harrison Court Cooperative. We are only one of 2 communities in the state of Michigan that own their own property. I own my land. We pay taxes. We pay school taxes every month. We are a community of primarily old people. I'm in the minority. The average age is somewhere between 60 and 70. We love our community. There's no crime in our community. We take care of the seniors. We make sure that anyone who comes into our community is checked thoroughly. And I moved to this spot. I live on the edge of the community. I live 30 feet from where you want to change the zoning. I mean, my land will be crap if the zoning's changed. Some of our residents have been there all their lives. Our park started in 1962. It's been there 55 years. Out of the 131 homes, we have 109 that have people in them. So we will pay school taxes this month for 109 of those homes. We are an amazing, amazing community. And to change, these men have had their homes backed up to ours for as long as I've lived there. They keep their grass mowed. Their homes are kept up. We've never had a problem having our homes backed up to their 4 homes. And I can't believe that you can just come in. I'm fortunate, I have well-to-do parents. I can move if you change my zoning. My community can't do that. So I'm asking you, please, think twice before you decide that we're not important, because we are important to our community. Thank you. We have 65 petitions here from our community. If you would like them, they're signed. That say we don't want.
Yes, if you could please hand those to Sabrina, the secretary, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hi.
My name's Jerry Becker. My wife and I are owners of 4 homes on Linefesti that directly back up to this piece of property. In looking at the zoning map that's online, if your zoning map is accurate, it says that my land, which is directly east of this property is not zoned industrial. So unless your online map is wrong, and you people don't know how to properly have somebody put that on, then it says my property is not zoned industrial. So the statement you made is false, that this property, whoever your planning commission guy is, okay, didn't really research it right, or your site is wrong. It says that property that we own is not zoned industrial. Charlie Russell used to own that property. I believe that was your father. Fine man. Charlie and I got along great. Few years past, Charlie asked to have that property zoned a mobile home. He asked our cooperation. We've owned that property over 30 years. Charlie Russell asked us to cooperate with him to rezone that off of industrial to mobile home community. Now, just because they inherit some property, they got it free from their father, and they don't want to put up with trying to sell it for the present zoning, doesn't mean that the rest of us should be harmed. That will devalue my and my wife's property. It will devalue all of these nice citizens that own their property, and it will bring a health hazard to all of us. There's no need for this. We were asked to cooperate last time, and we did. But what you're doing now is wrong. Your planning commission guy, I don't believe that he would do that. Every piece of property around there is either residential or recreation. To the west is the Clinton Township Park. Very fine park. They maintain it. They do well with it. To the east are 4 homes that we've maintained. My son lives in one of those homes. We pay taxes on that, and we want it residential. We don't need industrial property. Industrial property, how many of you drive down Irwin Drive? Look at your industrial property in Harrison Township. Really, drive down Irwin Drive, drive into the back of those industrial properties. You want us to have the back of that industrial property. How many of you live behind Irwin Drive? You want us to live behind Irwin Drive? That's what you're doing here tonight. You're deciding the quality of life. They don't live behind industrial property. Why should we? They live in St. Clair or somewhere else, on the river or on a golf course. Why should they put industrial property behind our homes, behind their homes? It's not right, it's not fair, and you shouldn't do it. You have a responsibility to your citizens. Listen to your citizens. This is a change. We just want the status quo maintained. They want to change it for the harm. It's not right, and you shouldn't do it.
Thank you, Mr. Becker. Anyone else?
Hi, good evening. My name is Philip Kent. I'm representing the Michigan Transit Museum. We currently do the train rides that run adjacent to the properties. I just wanted to notify the board that we, over the past few years, have been trying to get a hold of them to purchase this property. We went through their realtor, especially right after the new sign was put up. We noticed a new sign. Immediately we started calling. We would like to purchase this property the way it is and possibly turn it into a park to benefit our train rides, which is a nonprofit. So at this time, we as a museum would not like to see industrial. If anything, it at least gives the people a good ride for the way it looks right now rather than seeing the backs of something industrial. So again, we've tried writing Joy Development quite a few years ago, and I can't remember what year it is, by mail, never got a response. And again, with the realtor, never got a response through their website, email, phone number, anything like that. We've never gotten a response as we've requested more information to purchase it. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kent.
My name's Charles Klaus, and I just want to say to my new, to my elected leaders, I'm just having a pleasure just to meet you all, and just want to say that brother over there, what a great idea, Thomas Edison Park right there in our community. You know, that would be a blessing. We could really make that into a really nice park. And that would be a great asset to the community. I don't know how many storage units we got now going up all over the place, but definitely a park, Thomas Edison Park. Wow, what a blessing that would be to the community. That's all I had to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kraus.
Hi, good evening. My name is Stephen Becker. I live in one of those houses on Lenfesty. My parents have owned those houses for over 30 years. We've maintained those houses. First of all, I'm also an attorney in town, so I want to kind of go back towards some of the legal comments that you made. This Madam Chairman mentioned that this does not, it's counterintuitive to your counter plan or your master deed, and that is. So why would you want to go against your master deed that something was voted on? Then Mr. Russell came in years ago and asked for it to be moved back. That's why this board allowed it to go back, because it was more in conformity with your master plan and master deed. Second of all, I, along with the people from the train depot, every time a new sign goes up, my father says, call the real estate company, see what they want for it, see if they're willing to sell it, see if they're willing to do some kind of deal with it. Never over the last 3.5 years have I been able to get a hold of any real estate agent listed on that property. So for them to come in and say we've been trying to sell it and we're unable to sell it, I find that disingenuous, because I've called 3 real estate agencies over the last 3 years that they've had it listed. I believe the last 2. The last one, it's not even listed on their website, and when you call a number, it just says leave a message and beep. It doesn't even identify themselves as a real estate agent. So I find that suspicious. Second of all, Madam Chairman, you made the statement saying that what the property around is. I believe you're incorrect. To the west, you have a park in Clinton Township. To the east is our homes, which is not zone industrial. And if it's in relation to the property running east and west along I-94, that's on the other side of the storage facilities and a couple of miles away. So to say it's kind of in relation and adjacent to that is not proper, because you have a bunch of industrial places in between that and other places. I've also talked to the people that have that storage facility, or used to have that storage facility till recently. They had 30% vacancies. So they're building another storage facility over on southbound Gratiot across from McDonald's, and it's a huge complex. So I'm not sure how many storage facilities and how many empty storage things you want in your town. My last comment is, we're doing some research into this, but when Mr. Russell redeeded that property and we cooperated, there's a small section that comes out onto Lenfesty Drive, kind of like a wing. Originally, we agreed to have that rezoned because they were going to use that as a fire road only access. That runs 30 feet from my property and from that edge of my house. So for that property to be within 30 feet of the bedroom is definitely an intrusion. No one's mentioned, in addition to putting in facility of industrial, no one's talking about the noise and the air pollution quality of this neighborhood and these seniors. If you're there at night, I implore any of you just to go down about 9, 10 o'clock at night. I can't have my windows open on Lenfesty Drive because all the shops have their back doors open because it's hot. They have music blaring. They have cars pulling out, burning out onto the tires. You have people smoking pot in the parking lots. I've called the sheriff's department many times on people, and they respond very well, and I'm happy with this response. But to put more industrial people in there, where the garages and the factories are going to back up into these people's neighborhood with those bay doors open and music and everything else going on, but the noise and air pollution, you should really look into that. I don't believe anyone's mentioned that. You lose control of that. I've also took the time not only talking to the people from the Transit Authority, but I also talked to several homeowners. I was hoping they'd be here today across the street in Clinton Township at the apartments over there.
Make it quick, please, Mr. Becker.
Yeah, I will wrap up. And they also say that their piece of park across the street is the only slice of regular light that they have out of the projects. So to put factories next to that, you're also destroying their livelihood.
Thank you, Mr. Becker. Mr. Bardell.
William Bardell, clean cut boy next door, 21-year resident. Is anybody up here gonna stick up for these folks here? I know, Mr. Tominello, you're on the board, you're an elected official. I think we've got enough hoarders, I think we've got enough storage facilities. And if this is zoned, manufactured housing, then put some prefab houses up. There's very nice designs that they have now with new building supplies and materials, that you could have designer-type manufactured prefabbed houses with nice composite decks and everything. If it's residential, it's residential. You gotta be mindful of these folks' lifestyle and their quality of life. We've got a bunch of empty, vacant buildings in our industrial zone. We've got a bunch of empty storage facilities for all the hoarders that put all their junk in that they buy from China. We got enough of that crap. They're gonna put in a storage facility over where the old Kmart was and the old Lanolte discotheque was. This is ridiculous. Respect these people's life and their quality of life. Somebody stick up for them. Somebody, somewhere, somehow, please stick up for these folks and where they live and their life. It's about people, not about making a quick money off the backs of somebody else's life and rezoning it. It's zoned manufactured housing, it's manufactured housing. You can put prefab homes in there. Prefab homes you can put in there. They got nice ones and new building materials and so forth nowadays. Don't put another storage facility in there. That's ridiculous. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Verdell. Excuse me.
Yes, my name is Tom Doyle, and I'm speaking on behalf of my mother who lives at 24354 Allard. And I just noticed that there was some confusion as to what these parcels in question. Do you have a map or something that, you know, the residents can use or take a look at? Because I know you probably have something online, but there's a lot of residents in that trailer park that don't have internet access or don't log on. So that'd be very helpful. And also, if you had a graphic, you could probably put up on the screen so that when we're talking about the parcels in question, we can get a little more clearer idea of what's being requested here. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Doyle.
Hi, I'm nervous. My name is Christine Zato. I'm here on two things. One, I am a school bus driver for Lands Cruise. So not only do I drive in Harrison Township, I live in Harrison Township off of Lenfesty. I already have one industrial building behind me, and that at night, I've actually called the cops at midnight when I have to get up at 4:30 in the morning to drive a bus. Put another industrial building in there, makes it unsafe. Trucks and stuff do not stop for our stop signs. And we can't afford to let those children that board our buses get hit because of an inconsiderate person that runs our stop sign. Like I said, I've called on the mill behind me, and the smell is so bad, I cannot open my windows for fresh air during the day. I have to wear a mask when I cut my grass outside. That is not right. My mom's 72 years old. She shouldn't have to put up with that. I've lived there since 2008, and if I had known the mill was there and how bad it was, I'd have put my home somewhere else. This is not right that you sell that property to another mill to endanger our health.
Thank you, Ms. Zato. Anyone else?
Yeah, hi, I would just like to clarify, now.
Could you give us your name, please?
My name's Jody Davies.
Thank you.
I would like to clarify, is this parcel that you guys are interested in vacant property, or are you seeking eminent domain for our properties?
We're not seeking eminent domain.
Okay, thank you. All right, when I moved into that park, there was a neighborhood watch program that was established after I bought my property there. Personally, I had a lot of problems in that area, in that park. I am a targeted individual. My property is at 24335 Beeland, Lot 25. And because of these issues, I no longer live there. Very sad to say, because it was not my decision purposely to want to move. I felt forced out. Okay? Now, my concern with this new business is, I understand you want to put in a storage facility? Is this storage facility going to be maintained in your family, or is this going to be resold?
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and take all the questions and then we'll answer at the end, please.
Okay,
So-
so I'm seeking to know who's going to be the retainer of this property. Is it going to be, bought and then resold to somebody else down the road? Such as attorneys? Are there any attorneys investing in it? I'd like to know if it's going to be used for civil asset forfeiture, which is what U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions is endorsing. Okay, because I've been a victim of this. It's un-American. It's a Nazi Jesuit agenda, and shame on anybody and everybody that's involved with it. And I personally would like to know if President Trump endorses that or not, and I hope I will find out as soon as possible. And if I have to get in touch with the vicars on the local general, or level, the vicar general, I will do that also, as well as the judicial vicar. And my concerns is if this does cause harm to people, is there gonna be remedy made? Are people gonna get a percentage of the dividends? Maybe 1% of gross annual receipts for life, for as long as they live there.
Thank you, Ms. Davies.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Christopher Just. I am the new owner of Mount Clemens Mini Storage. I am interested in purchasing that. I know after sitting here, there's a lot of people that disagree with the mini storage. Yes, it was 30% vacant at the first of the year. We have 150 units. We have 2 units left. It was just under poor management. So with the help of a good website and whatnot, we were able to turn that around. As far as noise, I think probably the business itself is actually quieter than the storage, or excuse me, the business itself is quieter than the trailer park. I don't think you could ask for something easier to live next to if that property is going to be used. So I am interested in purchasing it. I walked in late and didn't expect this many people to be here, so I don't know if you have any questions. I do know that the property is large enough and wooded enough. It would be up to you guys, obviously, but if you wanted, let's say, 30 feet around the entire perimeter to stay woods, we don't need, to use every single square inch of that 6 acres. Very flexible in terms of what you guys would require in terms of keeping the neighbors happy. I know there's a park next to us. If they wanted, like I said, I keep hitting this, sorry, it makes noise.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know if you have any questions, but.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Just. Anyone else?
My name's Dan Jensenius. I'm with the Michigan Transit Museum. As Phil had alluded to, we had gone to the Harrison Township offices several years ago to try to get information on that property. We were trying to find out who owned the land type of thing, and they had showed Michigan Transit Museum having a rail bed that used to head over towards the Gibraltar Trade Center, which used to go to the sugar beet mill at one time. And it clearly showed on the maps that they showed us there that the Michigan Transit Museum was in fact the owner, or at least listed on that plot that they had at the township offices. And so we were trying to get additional information as it was, because we wanted to continue that spur into that area, as Phil had alluded to, so that we could keep that park as vibrant as it is, because it is a nice park, and it does give the citizens across the way a place to have there, but we also needed a place to be able to do more with our train, because all we had was that single section of rail. It used to go into Selfridge where we used to be able to switch the cars around, but we no longer go into Selfridge because of the 9/11 situation years ago, that base security couldn't check all the passengers going on a military base was the reason. So as Phil had said, we spent quite a bit of time. We ended up not only at the township offices here in Harrison Township, we ended up going into Clinton Township. We ended up at the Macomb County building, as I recall, Phil, wasn't it? Trying to get an answer on that strip that listed it, because we wanted to do something more with it, because it actually showed it on their maps. And we never really got a firm answer, because as I talked to the people, I said, somebody must be either paying taxes or not paying taxes on that strip that was clearly defined as, and it's still listed at the Transit Museum. So that's why we're in attendance, because as Phil had said, I was with them several times when that sign went up, and we dialed that number sitting in his truck right there on Joy Boulevard, because we were very interested in trying to find out who that was. And so my quick notes were, you know, I wondered why they wanted a park next to industrial usage, because of the housing that was across the street. And as I already mentioned, I'll summarize with it, you know, we'd like to maintain the use of the train with the park setting, use the land as a public land for historical use, because we already have a switch that's there, and it's just a matter of us continuing into there. So that's my input to it, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Hensing.
Thank you, brother.
Anyone else?
Good evening. Jim Senstack, 31698 San Juan. I've been listening to this, and most people probably realize I am not directly adjacent to it, but I do live in Harrison Township. And there's a couple things that stood out during this presentation. And the first was that if this is rezoned, anything can go there that is allowed in an industrial setting. Anything. Could be a chemical plant, could be storage of chemicals, it could be anything. Seems to be a focus on the fact that this gentleman wants to put a storage facility there. He can say anything he wants, and it means nothing once it's rezoned. If in fact he is so adamant about buying this property, I'm concerned that they haven't taken phone calls from a couple others, but just this guy. He can buy the property, and he can come in and contract zone it, which would then allow this board, the planning commission, to put the requirements on what can go in there. The trees around the outside, nice promise, not required. Unless the planning commission does a contract zoning with them. So if he's that interested in purchasing it, let him purchase it and him come in and make a request for the rezoning. The other thing that concerns me is that it was said that our planner indicated that he was going against our master plan with the manufactured home housing thing. What I know about zoning, and I've been on the zoning board and I've been on the planning commission, if you are taking away additional manufactured homes from the township base, somewhere along the line you're going to run afoul of the state of Michigan, because you can't exclude manufactured homes in your community. And that includes rezoning the property after it was zoned one way or another. That includes deliberately not having any of that zoning. Now, my understanding is that along Jefferson Avenue between Shook and Crocker, there's a couple manufactured home facilities in there. There's actually one at the end of Crocker. And the intent is, from everything I'm hearing, to get rid of those. So you get rid of those, you get rid of this piece of property, and all of a sudden, we don't have any manufactured homes in here. So I would urge that you basically turn this down, recommend turning it down, and telling the property owner, go negotiate with the guy that wants to build it and let him do the rezoning. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sunstein. Anyone else who hasn't had a chance to speak yet?
Hi, my name is Anna Hitch. I've actually only lived in Michigan for 3 years. We moved here from North Carolina to, actually so that I could work with Lance Cruz. I moved into my house about 1.5 to 2 years ago in Harrison Court. And we actually moved in here so that we could build a family here. Me and my husband don't have children at the moment, but would like to start. And we'd like to be able to walk our children and even my brand new niece up to the park and let her play on it and let her, you know, visit around there. There's enough space that if I wanted to teach her how to play dodgeball, I could. But then if we've got places, no matter what you do end up putting there, you know, for me as a younger woman, it'd be kind of a little nervous to walk by whatever's there. At the moment, I don't walk past that area right now without my husband because of the, I don't know what it is. It looks like a painting plant or something on the other side of the storage buildings. But I know on the weekends we go up there, we take my dog and we play on the park, and we walk sometimes to Dairy Queen. But the more places that are gonna take away that from the children and the younger couples and even the older couples who wanna go up to the playground in the park area, you know, it's not gonna look good. I can't sit there and take pictures if there's whatever's going to be there. Right now I can at beautiful woods. I'm from North Carolina. I'm used to woods. So that's why I moved to this spot. And if you take that and you're taking away the scenery, what are we gonna have left but the back of a building? That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Hitch. Anyone else who hasn't spoken yet? Please come forward and give us your name.
Yes, my name is James Baker.
James Baker?
And I live in Harrison Township. And I'm here representing someone that lives in the trailer park.
If you could speak up, please.
And I'm here representing someone that lives in the trailer park.
Thank you.
And I was just I have 2 questions. One, what specific part of sections of the trailer park were they interested in buying? And 2, if they could have a picture of it to show us what it would look like when it's developed.
We're gonna take questions and then at the end we'll try
Kind
to
of
answer.
explain.
Mhm. Anything else? Thanks, Mr. Baker. Anyone else? Please come forward, give us your name.
My name is Sandra Becker.
Sandra Becker?
Yes.
If you could speak up, please, Ms. Becker.
The current storage units on Lenfesti have 24-hour access with people coming in and out all hours of the day or night to their units for whatever purpose. I'm curious that whether the new units would be the same way, and they would be because they're allowed to be. So I don't think the residents would appreciate that. I know my son does not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else who hasn't had a chance to make a comment yet? If not, may I have a motion to close the public hearing, please? Oh, I'm sorry.
Could we introduce these people here? I don't recall their names being given.
This is our attorney and our planner and our secretary.
Okay. And your attorney's name is who?
I'm sorry?
And your attorney's name is what?
Rosemary Davis.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd just as soon leave the public hearing open.
You wanna leave the public
Sure.
hearing open?
Yeah,
Okay.
especially if you're gonna answer questions, because there may be some additional questions or incomplete questions that we could fill in.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, well, we've had several questions. We can try and get some of these answered tonight. I'm sorry? Yeah, absolutely. If you were taking note, if you'd like to come up and give us your response, please? Okay.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'll try to be clear, because I'm nervous too. This is new for me. Anyways, evidently my dad had requested this property be zoned mobile home community. From what I recall, mobile home was in quite demand. I know in my own community, we have mobile home communities, which I do feel are extremely important to our communities, but at our mobile home community, we had about 4,000 residents that lived there, and that mobile home community has dwindled down to hardly anything right now. Our family just wants to sell the property, and we just want to sell it. That's in our best interest, obviously, but we are also very cognizant of the community, because we live in a community and we care about our community. But we just, and of all the, 20-plus years we've had the property up for sale, nobody wants to put mobile homes on it. There's not a market for mobile homes, even though they're very nice mobile homes. We just don't have anybody that wants to buy it for that. We don't have interest in developing it. We just bought the property years ago from a local realtor named Rupert Craig, was a good friend of our family. So it just doesn't sell. As far as these gentlemen, my realtor's here, I'm sure he'll give you his card. I'm not sure why you couldn't get through, because we have property and we want to sell. So that's the first thing about the mobile home community. As far as anybody purchasing the property, we just own the land. Anybody that we've talked to that wants to buy the property can't use it as a mobile home, and they won't put money into buying property. They're not gonna invest in property unless they know they can have a business. And I wouldn't think that Harrison Township, even if it was rezoned, you still have to be in compliant with industrial and, whatever all those rules are. So they're just not, I wouldn't think you would let just anybody put anything, a chemical plant or anything dangerous. But I also wanted to remind you, we got an offer in to purchase the property, and it is for storage, whether it's full or not. I just feel like it would make a nice usage. It's a very mixed community. There's the establishment across the street. There's the industrial property. There is the park next door. We have a part of that property that we own that's in another community that's already industrial. We're kind of landlocked, so that's a hardship that we have, that we inherited. And like I said, I really feel for everybody, but at the same time, we have a family too. And we just have property, it's been for sale for 25, 30 years. We would just like to sell it. And what would make good common sense for your community? We want to be, trying to help the new owner put a business there that would fit within the mixed community that you do have, which is industrial and residential and mobile homes. So we're just trying to sell the property we have. I don't know if does that answer all the questions? I know there were lots of comments, and there's some I didn't know how to answer, so.
The property across the street is a strip club. So from the land that's there.
Hold on. This
She
is
said
the.
the property across the street.
Well, I said
This
it's
is the
mixed
applicant's-
community. Yeah, it's just mixed. I mean, it's a very,
Storage.
yeah.
Not the one that's the other side of the furniture.
It's just all mixed. It's just, you have that across the street. There's the party store, there's industrial, and I feel for you on the industrial. But like I said, we just have property we just want to sell, that's all. And we got to get it rezoned before we can sell it, because nobody's going to buy it. And we've had it for sale for 25 years, and nobody wants to put mobile homes in. Would be great. If you guys know of anybody that would like to buy it, we'd like to talk to them, so.
Inherit Charlie's factories too.
I'm sorry, this is the applicant's time to speak. The public hearing portion, we will offer, I think we're gonna end up having to offer that again after the applicant speaks. But let me just let me just say, one of the questions asked was whether or not there were zoning maps available. And I believe any resident can come into the township and get a copy from, and it is online?
We got ours
And are
online.
and you do have, do you have extra copies here tonight? No? Well, I'm willing to give up my copy, because I know I can get another one, and then any resident can go into the township and get a copy from the building department. Are we sure that the copy that's online is absolutely accurate to current zoning from the?
To my knowledge it is, I would have
Okay.
to check.
Okay, all right, so there at least is that answer. Okay, anything else that you wanted to,
I think that's it. If there's something I missed, somebody would just have to tell me. Like I said, there were some comments that were made, I don't know how to answer to them, so. Is that good?
okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Go ahead and take a seat. Commissioners?
Would you like to go up here and speak?
Just give us a moment, we're gonna go ahead, I think we're gonna end up having to open up again.
Thank you.
Any comments, questions for the applicant while we have? Nothing? Okay. Are there any other comments or questions from the applicant, from the residents?
Good evening. My name is Judith Zato, and I happen to work in Harrison Court. I am the office manager there, but I also live in Willow Point. My daughter spoke earlier. She drives a school bus. This young lady who owns the property specified about chemicals. Well, let me tell you, behind my home is a paint factory. Paint is a chemical, and why should I bother or smelling that with my lungs and injure myself? I think this is ridiculous. These older people, they're not just in their 70s. We have residents who are 80 and 90 years old, older than that. We have a lady who is 93, 94 and still drives. Comes up here to the library, okay? These people need respect. And this purchase of this land or rezoning is not good. For industrial, I agree that anything can be put up there once it's sold. I understand you're trying to sell it for storage. I have had to use storage facilities myself. But at the present time, who's to say that the person who buys it for storage decides to change it to something else? How about a rubber factory that they burn tires? That's industry. And, I just truly am against this. If there was a public vote sent to my home, I would definitely vote no. I'm the one who typed up all the letters that you're receiving this evening for the residents to sign. That is their proxy. We feel that that's their proxy vote against rezoning. Please, please give this a lot of thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sato. Anyone else? And remember, we already have, so if it's
William Bardell,
no repeats.
as far as the zoning maps go, they're not free, they're $5. When I picked mine up, mine was the last one. As far as on the website's incomplete. If you hit that zoning map, you're not gonna get the whole picture, so that's incomplete. So I don't know who the webmaster is or what's going on with that, but that's incomplete. And I think this, this land here, I think you should really be thinking about the quality of life for these folks. And not think about this special interest. If it's manufactured housing. Somebody tried to call the realtor and got a dead answering machine, well, there you go. Not having a PowerPoint up here, that shows respect. And that shows respect from the residents, and that starts at the top of our township on the board. It starts at the very top of the top. And that's what these people are going through. So please, somebody stick up for these folks. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bardell. Okay, anyone else have any questions? Mr. Becker?
Yes, Stephen Becker again. Just real briefly, and without due respect to the owners, Once again, she made the statement that she's been trying to sell this property for 20 years. We've been trying to buy the property or communicate with them. The railroad people, Michigan Transit Museum, I don't know where the lack of communication is. She says that she feels for us, but that's really an empty saying. You feel for us, but we just want our money. So she doesn't really feel for us. They want their money. So it doesn't really go back down to thing. And it's just to remind you guys, when you guys go into your recess and look at everything, remind yourself, you got about 20, 25 people here. You got 65 to 70 letters there. That's about 80 to 100 people that say, we don't want this in our community, and we're going to hold you guys responsible if you try and do this to us.
Thank you, Mr. Barger. I'm sorry. Can you please come back up to the microphone?
My dad died June last year, so we have a lot of things we're going through. So it's the best we can do, so I'm really sorry.
Thank you. Any other? Mr. Jost?
Hi. I don't know if it helps to me when I listen to this. It seems as if any development is not what you're looking for. I'm not sure about what the zoning is for storage, but if it could be business, commercial, or something other than industrial, because I certainly understand I wouldn't want a paint factory in my backyard. With what we're proposing, I think it's very quiet. I know it's very quiet. So that's something that I don't have all the facts on that you guys might, that you could rezone it to something that's not industrial but does fit our criteria. And maybe offices would go in there, but I'm 46 and I plan, if this does go through, to have this for the rest of my life, so.
Thank you, Mr. Jost.
Jerry Becker again. In my daytime job, I'm an insurance agent, and I've insured many storage units. And I've had the claims for meth labs in many storage units. I've had the claims for tires left in many storage units. And this having a 24/7 access, which his current one does, means we're gonna have trucks, cars, maybe legal or illegal activity going on in there. You need to walk into a storage facility, open them up, and see what the crap is inside a storage facility. There's a need for it. But do you want it in your backyard, folks? Look at yourself. Do you want it in your backyard? That's what you have to decide tonight. If you don't want it in your backyard, why put it in our backyard? It's not allowed now. Why turn tail on the citizens? Many storage units have whatever that person wants to put in it. And I've been an insurance agent for 40 years. I own an insurance agency. We've had meth claims in many storage units. Now, you know, I can't say every mini storage unit's gonna have a meth lab in it, but I've seen it. And we don't want it in our backyard, folks. You don't want it in yours. You don't want it in yours. Why put it in ours? Really? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Becker. Okay, anyone who hasn't?
My name's Dan Jensenis, again with the Michigan Transit Museum. What I need to do, I guess, is get into Harrison Township again. I'm out in Ray Township, but I had no notice of this whatsoever. I was handed this at one of our Sunday train runs a couple weeks ago or a month ago kind of thing. The citizens, or the attorney actually, it turns out, came over there to inform us about it. Who would I contact to make sure that I get this information as to what's going to continue on? Apparently, this is normally sent to the landowners. I would believe that, well, I know that Michigan Transit Museum itself owns that tract of land, I guess is the term for it. Would I have to go into the township offices to make sure that we get that information?
Currently, right now, I believe the rule of thumb is 300 feet from any point of that property will be notified, and that's the case?
We've got to be, like, we're right behind it, I mean, right next to the park and everything, so.
If you're outside of that 300 feet, you are absolutely welcome to come to the township at any time and get any information on.
Well, I'm more concerned about finding out about the information. I would have never known about this hearing if it hadn't been for the residents of the area approaching us on that Sunday. And
Yeah, is
so,
that from the township that you're holding right now?
This was given to me at Charter Township of Harrison, notice of public hearing.
Okay, so that's the,
I was handed this by one of the residents.
okay.
They
it's-
came to the train on Sunday.
Okay.
Said, do you know about this? Which we did, and we've already
So
illustrated.
that was the notice that was the notice that went out to a resident within 300
Apparently.
feet? Okay.
You know, it has all the information, that's why we're here today. So it says it was published, on July 26th?
My suggestion would be to contact the Planning and Zoning Department with any questions you have for any upkeep, any update on this item. But please know, as Mr. Tominello indicated, we're not making a decision this evening.
I
We're in
realize
the
that.
data
I just wanted to
collection.
make sure
Okay.
because we don't live in the area. We operate the train, obviously.
Okay.
And I checked, I'm the Director of Transportation, and I checked with all the staff to see if perhaps it had gone over to the depot on Cass there kind of thing. And I had no notice, so I just, that's how, because like I said, I went to the
Fair enough.
offices, we went there. They were very kind. I mean, they worked feverishly looking at that map, trying to identify that
Yeah,
parcel.
Sabrina's indicating that,
Just
Go
for the
ahead.
record, I have a PO Box 12 in Mount Clemens, 48046.
Okay, I'll check with them. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'll make sure that it's noted, whoever picks up at that post. Thank you very much. Gives me a little bit of fodder to go back and say what happened here. Thanks so much.
okay, anyone else? If it hasn't been, yes, you can, absolutely.
I'd be more concerned about the noise for our community. I know you're aware that there's already a factory at the end of our street, but are you aware that the freeway runs that way too? And we have the air base, that we hear the announcements in our home in the middle of the day. The strip club across the street is the only one left in Macomb County now. They open their doors at 8 o'clock at night and don't have to shut them till 10 p.m. So we already have all this noise in our communities that we own our land. So please, for the people like Judy, she's our office manager, she's 72. She's the average age of our community. Please don't disrupt these people's lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gordon. Anyone else?
Jody Davies again. I would like to just ask you to consider looking at the bigger picture, bigger than Harrison Township, because we know that President Trump is bringing back all kinds of manufacturing into this country, including automotive corporations. So we are getting more and more jobs, which means more and more people are going to be buying homes, and more people are not going to be transients needing to stuff their stuff in storage units. Okay, however, you have to consider this country, from what I've been learning, is bankrupt, and we've got 20 trillion in debt notes, and there are people who are still losing their homes and their assets, and they do have to have them put somewhere when they are confiscated from them, from a government that needs money because it's broke, and they steal your assets and shove them in storage units. So I'm asking you to reconsider. Would you like your assets stolen? Would you like what you've worked for all your life stolen from you? And if you don't know what this is, you need to educate yourself, because this is what our U.S. Attorney General is pushing, okay? He just came out of Minnesota pushing it there, all right? And a lot of states don't do this, but Michigan does. And I've been a victim of it. I've had storage units broken. I've had my home broken into countless times in Harrison Court. And I also had storage units, private and public, stolen, stuff stolen out of 3 cities and 2 counties.
Please keep in mind, this, the fact that it was mentioned, a storage unit is wanting to go there, doesn't mean that that's what's going there.
Well,
That is-
from what I'm seeing, there's more and more storage units. I mean, it's unbelievable, stuff that's being stolen from people. Okay? They've got to store it somewhere. Okay? So if the economy is really coming back, are we really needing storage units if people are going to be prospering and having their own homes with their own garages, sheds, and basements? Okay? And the other thing is, all I want to say, I don't know if I can remember here. Come on.
That's okay. When you think of it, you can come back up.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, anyone else? Anyone else who wants to, add something that hasn't been discussed already?
I mean, as an alternative to manufactured, since it is a manufactured housing community, that doesn't necessarily mean that there has to be single wide and double wide homes. Why not, make it, there can be parks that can be upgraded that look more like stick-built homes, with the garages attached, which are much more quote-unquote socially acceptable, than the deplorable trailer trash. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davies. Okay, anyone else? Okay. Commissioners? Any questions for the applicant?
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
I have a motion to close the public hearing. May I have a second,
I'll
please?
support that.
Mr. Tumno, Mr. Bloom. Roll call, please, Mr. Olgiati?
Yes, Member Tominello?
Yes.
Member Bloom?
Yes.
Member Boscia?
Yes.
Member Parker?
Yes.
Member Olgiati, yes. Chair Murray?
Yes. Okay, the public hearing is now closed. Okay, any questions or comments from any of the commissioners? Okay. It is up to us to mull all this information over and do our due diligence over the next 30-ish days. And we will come prepared to discuss this item at our next planning commission meeting, which is Thursday, September 21st, 2017. Okay. So that's that item. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the next piece of our agenda. If you'd like to stay, you're welcome to. If you want to leave, please do so quietly. We appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. The next item is comments from the planner. And this is regarding our potential zoning amendment from the Downtown Development Authority.
That's correct.
Okay.
Hello, Planning Commission. You did receive in your packet an updated draft. This is dated the draft is dated August 9th, 2017. As I know most of you attended the study session that we had about a month ago where we reviewed this in detail. So just to kind of give you a little bit of a background here, the Township's Downtown Development Authority generally is located and includes properties that are at surrounding the intersection of Jefferson Avenue and Crocker Boulevard in the township. That's the Downtown Development Authority district limits. Right now, the majority of those properties are zoned what is called V1, the township's village district. The intent of that V1 district is to establish a traditional business district of mixed uses, including retail, office, and residential. That's the intent. It's designed to establish high-quality architectural materials, promote a pedestrian-friendly environment, and certainly in a unified manner to try and attract business, increase growth in the township. The DDA over the last 4 or 5 months has been working toward establishing, using the V1 district as its foundation, to make some tweaks to that V1 district to establish a new V1A district, which is more specific to the interests of the DDA. And so that is kind of the background for the proposed amendments. Essentially, it's taking the foundation of the V1 district, but making some changes to that district for the DDA district. There are, some of the changes include some revisions to what architectural materials would be allowed, so we discussed that at our work study session. There's certainly some interest in allowing businesses to receive a benefit of not necessarily having to provide as much parking on site, but doing kind of a banked parking idea where they would actually contribute to a fund that the DDA and the township could establish to provide in the short and long term public parking within that district. So that would be a benefit to both the public and to the business owners as well. There's the desire by the DDA district to allow sustainable development practices to be utilized. For example, for an applicant or a developer or property owner to utilize a pervious parking surface in order to reduce stormwater runoff captured on the site. And that was something that is really unclear in the zoning ordinance whether that's allowed. And so that's something the DDA wanted to make sure that that would be allowed. So those are some examples of the changes that we had. So at the last study session, there were just a few tweaks after kind of going through it in detail that the Planning Commission requested. We did include those changes for you. They are kind of noted, they were noted in the color, kind of the strike-through text there. So hopefully, you've had an opportunity to take a look and make sure that the changes that we provided to you addressed your comments from the last work study session. So I'm here to, if you had any questions for me or any additional items that you wanted us to address in a revised draft, I would ask that you let me know, either tonight or, after tonight's meeting by email or phone. But if you are looking to, move forward with the proposed amendments, the process, as I mentioned during the study session, is to hold a public hearing at the Planning Commission level, and ultimately you would need to make a recommendation to the Township Board, who has the ultimate authority for approving zoning changes. So if you're comfortable with the language at this time, you could initiate that process or begin that process that would include the public hearing scheduling and notifying for that public hearing. If there are changes that you'd like me to make, or if you want to wait another month on this, just let me know.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
can I just have one comment on that? We also have, not in front of you today, but upcoming, where Brent will be preparing a list of some changes that need to be made to the zoning ordinance in general. And I thought it might be a good idea to, if you, irrespective of what you do with this, maybe put them all together in one ordinance, one public hearing for like a mass amendment to the zoning ordinance, just to save you, time and money with cost of publication and holding the public hearings.
That's a good
Because it is a
idea.
big process. And so in the meantime, if after you review this, at the next meeting, when we present some things that were brought to our attention, if you have anything that you see in the zoning ordinance now and you want to bring it with you to the next meeting to suggest that we make some changes and prepare a draft for your review, that would be great.
okay. Thank you. Amanda, did you have anything that you wanted to share with us as well?
I don't think so. I think Adam covered it. We did receive a grant from the state of Michigan to pursue these zoning amendments. And also at the same time, we're looking at, the DDA is also looking at doing a complete streets plan that would make the district more walkable and further us to our goal of having a nice walkable downtown commercial area for people to gather.
Thank you. Yeah, that would be great. Okay, any questions from the commissioners? For the planner?
Just a question, can you provide a definition of outdoor recreation facilities under special land use? Can you give some examples of those, of that, please?
Outdoor recreation facility?
Yes.
All right, we'll see if there is a definition in the zoning ordinance. So this is a stated use that's proposed to be included in the V1A Village District as a special land use. It is a use that is currently allowed as a special land use in the V1 district, so it's on the books right now.
Under V1?
Under the V1 district, that is.
V1, okay.
The V1.
V1.
V is in
That's
Victor.
correct, yep. Let's see if there's a definition in the
So like
ordinance.
tennis courts?
I always
something
want to look at the zoning ordinance first to
Yeah,
see if
and
there
that's
is a
what I'm trying to-
definition.
Trying to understand if it's, outdoor water park, is it, go-kart track, is it
Okay.
that
There-
type of?
There's not a definition, so I'm gonna look at one more section. And I'm gonna. The definition may be buried elsewhere in the ordinance.
Okay.
I'll double check on that.
Yeah, could you
In the
please?
absence of a
Yep.
definition, what I would presume outdoor recreation facility would mean, it could be certainly public outdoor recreation facilities, but I would certainly presume that it would additionally mean private for-profit or nonprofit outdoor recreation facilities as well. It could be, for example, a golf course or a, mini golf or a recreation center, maybe go-kart facility,
Okay, yeah, if you could just
things of
find that
that
out, I
nature.
appreciate that.
I'd be glad to do that for you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Can you wait, please, until, thank you.
So not a question, I think it'd just be a comment in preparation for public hearing. I would like for you to prepare some type of additional documentation, either by way of illustration or some precedent images of existing developments that have occurred, that are consistent with the words that are described in the document. And I think you may recall at the last meeting, that's where I was always driving. So yes, I'm in support of the concept. I was always just struggling that I'm not sure that the words that are used are gonna give you the architecture and the context to the solution. So,
Sure.
something to that, but so you could visually see what do these words mean in some type of contextual arrangement on the streetscape.
I'd be glad to do that. And in fact, I forget which month, I believe it was February, we held a public meeting where we had a discussion about zoning requirements within the Downtown Development Authority district limits. One of the exercises that we did was we conducted a visual preference survey where we put on screen precedent imagery, good, bad, otherwise.
Right.
And asked the folks who attended the meeting to rank those images. And we used the answers or the feedback that we received to try and hone in on what do we like? What features of this image, why did it rise to the top as being, one of the favorites? And so from there, that helped us to craft regulations to try and attract or certainly allow, or at least not prohibit, that type of development, the type of development we'd like to see.
So that's
for
good.
that
So you
meeting-
did the data research to come
Yes.
to that.
Yeah.
So where I was going with the opening statement, then I think for public hearing presentation,
Yeah.
you'd probably want to resurface
I will.
saying this is in fact now in a visual depiction
Sure.
of what these words say. Over and above, I mean, I see the graphic drawings, but I think you know where I'm going with the precedent images.
Absolutely.
There is another part of the grant, after we complete this, and the complete streets design, we did write in producing a document that we can give to people to see what we're looking for and what to visualize. It's, I think it's called a developer's guide or.
Yeah, it's kind of like a marketing brochure for the district.
Yep.
Hey, this is what we can offer to you. This is what the requirements mean. This is how you can work through the process, so on and so forth.
Good.
Thanks. Okay, any other questions regarding this document? Well, what would you like to do? Do you want to hang on to it for a month and come up with any additional changes that might be asked for in our zoning ordinance? And then in a month's time, you will also, Rosemary, have additional items, or you were waiting for us to
Well, I
provide
think
all of that?
what I'd like to do is just hang on to this, whether you approve it tonight or approve it next month, and then when we bring more changes for you, we can discuss those, and then I can prepare one ordinance, and I'll incorporate whatever Mr. Young has prepared into the main ordinance for
Rosemary has
Okay.
to
amendments.
prepare the ordinance.
Okay, got it.
Because it all has to go in one ordinance anyway, so.
Okay.
And then that goes to the board.
In that case then, well, then it makes sense for us to hang on to this
Just
for a month.
receive and review.
Yep,
I don't think we need a motion.
Yeah, I don't think we need a
We're
motion
just
either,
gonna
just note that we, for the record, that we are in receipt, and we will review and make any adjustments necessary and provide that back to Mr. Young and to our council for review. Stay feverishly right. Okay, we'll take comments from the floor, but please note, limited to 3 minutes each, and be mindful, you're in public.
I just have one question for Mr. Young.
Oh, yes,
Please come up.
yes, thank you for reminding me that. The comments that you make shouldn't be related to the items that we've already discussed, because we've already taken the comments for those items. So, and the public hearing for that item is closed. Yes, please come up to the podium. Ms. Zato, correct?
Yes. Correct. I really have only lived in Harrison Township since 2009, but I was born and raised in Michigan. Lived in North Carolina for 30 years. Now, all I want to know is this not downtown? Where's downtown?
We like to think it is. No.
I mean, I have never seen
We don't
anything
have
that
a
says
downtown
downtown.
yet.
Well, then why is he specifying downtown?
Because we're in the process of developing an area that we would like to designate as a downtown and eventually move in that direction and turn it into a downtown.
Okay.
So over the course of the next
We have
Few
formed-
years.
developing
For-
years.
Yeah, we have formed a downtown development authority.
Okay.
And we've identified an area with boundaries within that area. And that's what we're working to modify ordinances to fit within that DDA.
Okay, now I have another question. Well, a statement first, that I was born and raised here. I was born in Mount Clemens and raised in Roseville. Now, when we moved back here, I'd like to know how long Harrison Township has been Harrison Township. Because my brother was in the Air Force, and it was Selfridge Air Force Base. And then it seemed to be Mount Clemens. So when was this incorporated into Harrison Township?
1895.
Is it on our,
1895?
There's actually, if you look at that on the wall, that
Okay.
talks
Yes,
about
sir.
the history of Harrison Township, so maybe that'll help you out a little bit.
Yeah, because I don't ever remember growing
Yeah.
up having a
Check it-
Harrison Township.
Check that out after
And I
the
was
meeting.
born 72 years ago and don't remember.
God bless you.
Check that out.
So it was just, he's talking about downtown, and I'm thinking, now, I have seen online or somewhere, papers, whatever, comes in the journal, whatever, which I do read, some kind of a clock or something somewhere. It says Harrison Township, town of, or whatever. It specifies this as your downtown. That's why I thought this center was pretty much downtown with the library. That just, is fairly new. It was just curious as to, I've never seen a downtown. And I was wondering where it was.
Well, eventually there will be one.
Okay.
We all
Let's hope it looks very nice and you get things that you want there. Because I would like my granddaughter who spoke to bring her niece and my other granddaughter to an area that can be enjoyable by family. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Zato. Any other public comment? And please remember, not addressing anything that we've already discussed this evening.
Jody Davies, okay, the, grant, you said it's state monies? The grant, the source of income, is that state money or is that a federal grant?
The grant that the DDA applied for and received is the Michigan Coastal Zone Management Program. It is a state-administered grant, but the funding source is federal through NOAA.
Which NOAA is what I'm not familiar with NOAA.
National Oceanic and
Oh, yeah,
Marine
gotcha,
Atmospheric.
Yep, I
Atmospheric
gotcha.
Administration.
All right, second question is, all right, if you're getting a downtown development authority in Harrison Township is a township, correct? Harrison Township is unincorporated, is that correct?
No, Harrison Township is a charter township. It is an incorporated municipality.
It's incorporated?
It is an incorporated municipality.
So, well, it can't be both, can it? It can't
It's a
be an
municipal
incorporated municipality and a township at the same time, can it?
I'm sorry, in a
It's a municipal corporation.
municipal
It's a charter
corporation.
township.
So you're saying.
Under the Charter
So you're saying
Township Act.
Harrison Township is not a charter township, it's a
It's a
cor-
charter
incorporated municipality?
It is a charter township under the Michigan Charter Township Act.
it sounds like you're trying to combine two into one.
No,
So when was this incorporation done?
I would have to check for you. I don't know the year that happened, unless any of the board members do.
So
but
you're saying it's an incorporated municipality under,
It's a charter township. It's a municipal corporation, so it's, but under the Charter Township Act of Michigan.
well, if it's incorporated, then that means it's a corporation, it's not a form of government.
It is a form of government under the Charter Township Act.
Okay, sounds like some mixing of rules and laws, but in my opinion, that's very common these days, I understand. So, I was always taught that a township was a township and it was the highest form of government on the local level. Okay, and that a municipality that's incorporated is a business with a, what do you call those business numbers? Dun and Bradstreet number? And that they're a corporation for profit. That's all, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, it's Christine Zato again. I got a question. As a bus driver, you guys got the grant for roads and stuff. Is that gonna take in all the roads for Harrison Township or just certain roads? Cause a lot of the roads need help.
This is just for the DDA district, which is Crocker and Jefferson. So we're looking at the Crocker corridor and then Jefferson from just south of the spillway to where the sandbar
Yeah, cause they just
is.
did the bridge over the spillway last year. So yeah, no. Yeah, I was just wondering, cause a lot of the roads in Harrison Township need help. Not just where I live, but on all the ones I drive off of South River. They're in real bad repair. And I was just wondering if they'll ever be fixed.
That's a good question.
That's an excellent question.
We can't answer that.
Okay. Like I said, I'm asking as a bus driver because it's rough.
Feel free to call the township and or the
I
Macomb County Road
I
Commission.
actually have both as a resident and a bus driver, and I was told Harrison Township does not have their own Department of roads.
right, we do
That
not.
you have to rely on Macomb County. Macomb County, I don't think likes us. I really don't.
We do not collect a road tax.
Okay.
So there is no funding for road repair.
Okay.
Basically, funding that the MCDOR provides is all we're gonna get.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, our next meeting, any other comments from the board? Our next meeting is Thursday, September 21st, 2017. May I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Motion to adjourn and supported, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Call the meeting at 8:30. Thank you, everyone.
Are these your sunglasses?
They are.
I was gonna steal them.
That's because I came in with 2 items on my head.
This is
the one online?
Yeah.
Same place?
I don't know, I'd like a, I don't know.
Let's, tier 3 special.
Is that even still open? Well, I know they redid it. They might.
I think they're done.
Only has
My grandkids, they're, last weekend, and they loved it. Oh, yeah. But they have a great cat lot, where you can go, you can play, and they have a cat lot.
Thank you for sharing that.
So you can play on there, you got boardwalk, you got the pool, you got the beach. Yeah, they'll love it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, take them, they'll love it.
Thank you for coming
Sure,
tonight
thank you.
and exercising your residential
We've actually been this? Oh, it's the Yeti. Oh,
Yeah.
never mind. I thought it was
Good, that's good.
No, that's the Yeti one.
Well,
We have one the Yeti was. It's better than Yeti and it's cheaper.
I know you can get, my parents have the ones, that like
Okay.
Costco and Sam's Club sell,
September
and they love
21st.
them.
Oh,
And
okay.
they're way cheaper.
Oh, okay.
This was a
There you go.
gift. Otherwise,
okay.
I would
This
probably.
was off of, actually Home Shopping Network. I was
Okay.
flipping through. It was like,
Was it Arctic?
Jim,
Those
I'm
are
a
supposed to
firm
be just as good.
Not down.
I don't remember. Like I said, I didn't buy it, and I
Yeah.
thought,
If
you
it's
know, they never.
manufactured or not,
Does that keep
down
it pretty?
zoning residential.
Yes, yep, yeah.
Hot too? And I don't know.
I haven't tried hot, and then I'm an iced coffee
But it does
drinker,
make it-
so, but I can say, like, if I were to put water in this and put it next to my bed in the morning, there would
Turn
still
it
be
into
ice.
something
in it.
other than- To me, you're taking
So it
away
is
opportunities
nice.
for residential,
Yeah, you are.
which to me doesn't make a lot of sense.